Hi everyone and welcome to Talk to Cloud. I came back from Las Vegas last week and today I was recovered from jet lag, business trip, and I have more time to read different articles about reInvent, about announcements, about what happened in Vegas. Because what happened in Vegas, in reInvent, doesn't stay in Vegas. And let's go. reInvent 2024. The strange reInvent. This reInvent was a strange reInvent because a lot of things happens in AWS in the last week, in the last year, because the CEO changed. Now it's Mat Garman, and maybe the strategy changed because we expected a reInvent very focused on GNA, and the reInvent have a lot of announcements about GNA because it's normal, but changed a lot. But have other thing that is not GNA because okay, GNA is amazing, but it's not the only thing that we have on AWS. We have other services that are amazing, and we need to improve them. And one thing that for me that's amazing in this reInvent or different is the reInvent from others is back to the basic, back to the AWS primitives idea. That is, you have a very good service or great good service for customer, and then can use like a building blocks, merge them, and create amazing architecture, amazing products with that primitives. Not try to create one service to cover all of them. And I think that idea was something that AWS are not focused in the last 2 or 3 years, and now they are more focused on that idea. And Mat Garman explained to us, and also Werner Vogels on their keynotes. And for me, that is very impressive. A tradition for me, and I think for every AWS community member, is talking about the announcement. What announcements are your top? In this case, I said my 6 top announcements, and we will start for the 6. Number 6 is AWS Security Incident Response. That is a new service. It's not very known for people. It's not a big announcement about reInvent, but I think it's very interesting because AWS launched a new services to correlate events from different AWS security services, like Macy, like GuardDuty, like Security Hub. They try to know what incidents are interesting, try to prioritize them, and try to create alerts for customers. And these alerts can be managed for the customer team, or maybe you can talk with the AWS Customer Incident Response team. That is a very amazing team on AWS that helped to us to solve this incident and also to improve your security posture in general and your security practice. I think it's a very good thing. It's in the top 6 because it's very expensive. The service starts at $7,000 per month. That is very expensive, and depends of your or your billing of what can be more increase this number. And okay, it's a very cool service, but it's very awful. The price is very awful. Number 5, Amazon Q Developer Agents. Amazon Q I don't know if you know Amazon Q Developer Agent. It's a very, very amazing feature that you can integrate in your IDA, and you can use for when you develop code, write code, help to you to write the code. It's very easy. It's very integrated with AWS. Know a lot of things about AWS. And if you write code for AWS is very a good assistance. But AWS knows or discover that developer don't use a lot of time to write code. They said a developer only use 1 hour every day to write code. The rest of the time, developers are doing other things, important things, but sometimes boring things, like documentation, code reviews, unit tests. And these three features are added to Amazon Q Developer Agent to help developers on these areas. I hate write documentation. And if a GenAI can do it for me that is the primary reason to have an GenAI, not to write my code. Because for simplest code, it's normal, but for complex code, GenAI doesn't work very fine, okay? And I prefer to use for write documentation for me. That is a thing that I hate. Number 4, we talk about GenAI processor, GenAI infrastructure, because AWS released last year Trainium 2, and now in this re:Invent they release EC2 tier M2 instance and also tier M2 Ultra server. The first one are amazing instance to train models, and how large models need a lot of capacity, they launch the Ultra servers. Ultra servers are, I think, are for tier 2 instance, but maybe more, interconnected and in the same rack, and they use interconnection very quick, name it Neuralink. That is amazing with a low latency, and you can train very big models. And for example, Apple talk in the Mat Garman Keynote, they will use Trainium 2 for train their own models. That is something amazing because Apple never do this in any Keynote, never talk in Keynote for other companies, and that is very important. And the final of this is AWS will launch Trainium 3. They talk about Trainium 3 on re:Invent, and this is amazing because it's a new CPU that's improved Trainium 2. It's amazing. Number 3, and this announcement makes me very happy because it's an announcement about my favorite service, that is Amazon S3. And Amazon S3 now works like a database, and that is very cool because they launched a new storage S3 type, that is S3 tables, that permits storage tabular data. Okay, until now you can store tabular data with a Parquet file or CSV file, but now with this integration with Apache Iceberg files, you can store your data and access to your data directly, structured data, very quick, in a very powerful mode, and do amazing things. The performance is amazing about this new type storage class on S3, and works fine. And also at the same time they launch another feature, that is Amazon S3 object metadata, to storage automatically the metadata or create metadata for any object on S3. Until now, we need to create the metadata. If you don't do this, it's a problem, okay? But now, AWS create this object metadata for you. And that is very, very useful when you try to indexing files, or you try to search or filter files for one of these metadata, like the date, like the type of file, or any other aspect of your data. Number 2, Amazon Bedrock, the GenAI AWS services. This year we have a lot of announcements about Bedrock, about SageMaker, and other new services at GenAI level. Amazon Q Developer has a lot of different, Amazon Q in general has a lot of new announcements, but I like these 3 new features on Bedrock. The first one is intelligent prompt routing that permit to us to write a prompt, and depending of the prompt, Bedrock we will to select the correct model for you. In this case, work with Cloud Sonnet 3.5 and Haiku, and select the most cost-efficient model for you. Instead, you need to select the model. That is very easy because reduces the cost, and at the same time, select the best model for you. Instead, you need to do this, that is more time. Intelligent prompt catching. I like this new feature because permit to us to catching our prompt. When we interact with a prompt and we, for example, asking about the same question about this prompt, is very quick. But what happened with Alien, or what happened with our different action? We will need to recreate the prompt and say all the questions to the prompt. With this new feature, we can catch in this prompt and only make the new prompt question, for example, and it's more quick. The latency is low latency, and at the same time, it's cost efficient because we don't need to generate the information that we have at the beginning and consume tokens on Bedrock. That is very cool. The third and the last feature that I like is the model distillation. And what is a model distillation? We can catch our data or use our data and a prompt and create from a large language model, create a not tiny, but create a distillated model from this large model that can work for us better or at the same level than the large model at more efficient prices, okay, because it's a tiny model that work only for our data. Instead, work with a big data. It's like a rack that implements more accuracy and at the same time reduce the prices. And that is a very good implementation. I like it. And number one, the most amazing announcement on this re:Invent and probably in the last 3 or 4 years, that is Amazon Aurora DSQL, a new distributed database, relational database that's have a strong rights on a distributed model. That is amazing. They implemented amazing technology. Werner Vogels talked in their keynote about this technology, and you have more sessions that talk about DSQL and how they construct or they create DSQL. That is amazing. And they implement the same model or the same technology to improve Amazon DynamoDB global tables. Now had a strong concurrency, a strong write concurrency. And they use a very cool technology because they use the time. They use Amazon Time Sync Service. That is a technology that synchronizes time at milliseconds from a nuclear clock and use satellites to synchronize the time in every region of the world of AWS. And at a very huge scale, it's amazing because that new feature doesn't exist on AWS. Maybe it exists on other cloud providers. Like it's very similar to Cloud Spawner, but the performance they say it is better than Cloud Spawner, and I hope it will be more cheaper. But I need to review this new feature. But it's for me now the thing that I watched is amazing. I need to test, but I think it's the most amazing announcement that we have in this re:Invent and probably in the last 3 or 4 re:Invents. Keynotes. This year keynotes are very amazing. We have a very amazing keynote about Mat Garman because Mat Garman talked about the AWS primitives. I love it. And at the same time, they made a very, because it's a business session, but at the same time, it's very amazing session talking about different technologies on AWS, and was one of the best business keynote or CEO keynote in the last year. I love it. I recommend for you. But if you have only time to watch one keynote, I always recommend Werner Vogels keynote. This year, he talked about simplicity and is how to create a simple architecture, but at the same time, we need that level of complexity and how to move this complexity to AWS or maintaining your on your sites, and what is the benefit, what is the difference, how to do this, how AWS try to manage this complexity in their own sites in their area, and that is very amazing. They talk about a lot of about technology, and it's a keynote that always I recommend. If you have time, please watch it. And last, we talk about my experience on Reinvent. That is my third year on Reinvent, and it's the sixth year that I follow Reinvent. I like the event a lot, but at the same time, I I do different experience in this year, and uh, what session is very important for me. But at the same time, I try to prioritize what session I will watch because I don't have time to watch any session or watch a lot of session on Reinvent. I try to watch sessions that can't watch online on YouTube later, uh, like chat talks that are talks that only happens on Reinvent, and you can and is not recorded. And I try to prioritize these talks. At the same time, I try to prioritize to talk to people from different people, like AWS ambassador, like AWS heroes, community builders, customer, colleagues, and that is very important because talk with these guys makes you better. The You can grow a lot talking with different people on Reinvent because are very amazing people or people that have a lot of experience on AWS, on cloud in general, on computing in general, and was very very good for me. And the last part of my experience is fun time. It's amazing. I like go to Reinvent because it's very fun for me. Not I not go to parties because I'm a very boring person, but at the same time, on Reinvent have different experience that make your trip more fun. And if you will go to Reinvent other year, I recommend not only focus on session, try to focus on makes fun things. And that's all for me. And now I will say goodbye with the same phrase that Werner Vogels, no go Bill. That is, I think it's amazing. And bye bye.